You're watching X-Ray.
Bringing you the stories that matter.
Mike paid almost £35,000 to a company who promised to manage his debts. But today, he's worse off than ever.
New ID. The company selling a makeover and photo shoot for 50 quid. But is that all you'll pay?
And recycling your old mobile phone. Good for the environment and your wallet? Not with some companies.
Hello, tonight we're in Merthyr Tydfil. Later on, we'll be finding out how parents here are saving money on school uniforms.
First, though, paying off debts can be a slow and painful process. And there are plenty of companies out there keen to help you manage your money problems. Rachel's been to meet one man who turned to the experts for help, only to find himself in a worse situation.
Sometimes when you've got a problem, you need to call an expert. Everyone knows that.
OK then, class, tell me, if I had toothache, who would I need to call? Dentist! Correct, the right answer. Right, OK. If I had a problem with my car, who would I call? Mechanic! That's the right answer. If you had problems with money, who do you think you'd call? The bank, should we have a look? Bankrupt. That can't be right, can it?
When father of two, Mike Jones from Cwmbran, found himself struggling with debt, he turned to the experts, debt management specialists Apex DCM. Today, Mike likes nothing more than relaxing with 4-year-old Jackson. But 7 years ago, a bitter custody battle over his older child left him tens of thousands of pounds in debt.
You feel trapped. And you are going down an even deeper black hole. It was just spiralling downwards.
Mike owed nearly £39,000 when he sought expert help. Apex DCM offered to take over the debt, deal with Mike's creditors and negotiate repayments, whilst Mike paid them a lump sum each month. But what Mike didn't realise was that the company was being run by a former bankrupt, John Baird, shown here on local news. But at the time, Mike believed the company was offering him a lifeline.
It feels like somebody's just chucked a ladder down a hole. It's a way out. It's the best feeling you could possibly have. It's so, you know, you're in a position where you've got no help, you can't get out, and then somebody comes along and says, hang on, we're going to help you.
Mike struggled to make the monthly repayments of between £450 and £650 every month.
There was times that my eldest son needed clothes and I couldn't get them for him because I just didn't have the money. My whole life revolved around DCM getting paid.
And he kept on paying, because he'd been told he'd be debt-free within 6 years. Then, last December, after a period on the sick, Mike called DCM to ask how much was left to pay.
She says £36,000, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, that's not far off the start figure. And I've been with you now nearly 6 years, so you must be looking at the wrong figure.
Then in March this year, there was another shock. Apex DCM went into administration. They clearly seemed to need a little help with their maths.
When Mike came to DCM Apex, he had debts of £38,900. But when the company went bust, he still owed £34,600. So the company had paid off £4,300 of Mike's debts. But he'd paid them more than £34,000. So there's £30,000 missing.
£30,000. Nearly a year's full wage before tax.
Tell me how you felt at the moment when you saw that.
It's an abyss. Just opens up underneath you and just wants to suck you in. You start looking inward to you on how you could allow yourself to be scammed for £30,000.
Amazingly, some customers have been even worse off. More than 500 have seen their debts stay the same or go up since they signed with DCM Apex. So, where has all the money gone?
The answer, it seems, lies with not one, but two former bankrupts. John Baird, who died in 2009, started Apex DCM with Sentley Wilson. He was later made bankrupt and was also banned from working as a solicitor for misappropriating clients' money. It turns out that Baird and Wilson were directors of many other companies, several of which have gone out of business. It appears that more than £1.3 million of Apex DCM's cash, including Mike's money, was loaned to these companies.
These loans may have been made entirely legitimately and with the best of intentions to help other companies. At the other end of the spectrum, it could be that these payments were deliberately made to defraud the creditors of Apex DCM and move that money out to benefit ultimately somebody else.
What do you think the chances are then that customers will get some money back from all of this?
Unfortunately, it's unlikely that people will get their money back in this situation.
It seems Sentley Wilson, the only survivor of the two men who started the company in 2002, has a lot of questions to answer. But he's refused to respond to any of our letters. Administrators are still investigating the company, and both the police and the Insolvency Service say they'll look at their findings. But Mike has been left with only one option: to declare himself bankrupt.
I could have gone bankrupt 7 years ago and be out and be putting my life back together again. But there was a pride in me in paying back what I borrowed. 1, 2, 3. We're back on the bread line once again, as any father would want to do the best for their children. And I can't.
So, Rachel, this is a dreadful situation.
It is, and I really felt for Mike because he tried to do the right thing and pay his debts off.
Exactly. Is there enough regulation, then, of the industry?
Well, DCM is obviously quite an extreme example, but the Office of Fair Trading, who regulates the industry, are clearly concerned about the practices of some of these debt management companies. So much so, in the last 9 months, they've actually taken the licences off 11 companies and issued warnings to 129. And then on top of that, they've actually released revised guidelines to the industry, so they're in no doubt about the standards they expect.
So what's the advice for anybody who finds themselves in debt?
Absolutely do not pay for debt management services, because there are loads of organisations out there who will provide exactly the same service as these companies, but they will do it completely free of charge. So go along to our website and you'll find all their details.
Good advice, Rachel. Thank you very much. Now let's find out what Rod's up to.
Well, this series, we're looking at how communities across Wales are saving money. And here at Gelli Faelog Primary School, it's all about saving money on the school uniform. Cheryl Haggerty, good to see you.
Hello, Rodri.
Right, what exactly is going on here now? You're looking very busy.
I am. We're just preparing for our school uniform fete today, where all these uniforms that have been recycled are available for parents to purchase.
Right, so how does it work? Because they all look brand spanking new.
They do. What happens, parents, carers, grandparents, whoever, donate unwanted, outgrown pieces of school uniform. They put it in the recycling bin at the entrance of the school. They're then collected on a weekly basis and are taken to an organisation we work in partnership with in Merthyr for people suffering with long-term health problems. And they are then professionally laundered, put in plastic bags, labelled with what school they are and the age of the child, and brought back to each school, and then they're available for resale to the community.
They do look absolutely fantastic. So how much of a need is there for a scheme like this?
There's a huge need, Rodri. What we found from working with the community, that parents were actually going to doorstep lenders and paying extortionate amounts of interest just to be able to buy the school uniforms for the child to return to school.
And as an example, this little blue uniform here for a 3 to 4 year old girl, what sort of a price would that be?
This particular one would be just 25p. All the items you see here range between 25 and 50p. So in essence, you could have the whole school uniform for just over £1.
Well, Cheryl, keep up the good work, and later on I'll be chatting to some of the very happy customers. But next, Lucy's looking at a company whose offers shouldn't always be taken at face value.
In the UK, the hair and beauty industry is worth a whopping £14 billion and employs over 150,000 people. Some photo studios are trying to tap into the success of the beauty market. They offer makeovers, followed by professionally taken photographs. In Cardiff, New ID Studios do just that. Hair and makeup on a discount and free photos as mementos of the day. But their sales techniques are causing concern. Sharon Hale was cold called by New ID Studios. She bought a makeover for herself and her friend Linda Cook.
And they knocked on the door saying, how would you like to have your hair done? A facial, head massage and makeup and a free photograph for £25 for you and a friend. And I told her I was partially sighted so I couldn't see what it said on the brochure. And she read all through the brochure and I said, what's the catch? She says, no catch.
Sharon paid £50 and looked forward to a day of pampering for her and Linda. She then rang New ID Studios for an appointment, but she was in for her first rude shock.
They said that they wanted another £50 deposit. So what's that for? They says, oh, just in case you don't turn up. And they said you'll get your money back. As soon as you go in, they'll give your money straight back on your card.
So Sharon paid another £50. But on the day, things didn't go to plan.
Included in the package was supposed to be a glass of bubbly. Well, they couldn't even give us a cup of coffee because they didn't have any milk there. But that aside, they did cut our hair and it was excellent. But supposed to be a head massage. Well, that turned out to be the conditioner that they put on our hair. Then a full facial was for Sharon, baby wipes, and for me was nothing. Yeah. We'd been in there over 4 hours then.
Oh, yeah.
And we went back to ask for the £50 to be reimbursed on Sharon's card. And they said, yet again, we couldn't have the £50 reimbursed unless we'd go ahead with the photo shoot.
Sharon and Linda had their photo shoot. They were then taken to another room at New ID Studios. They say the company told them there was no such thing as a free photograph.
We had to pay for them. And I looked at the cost at the beginning of the folder that they gave us to see their prices started at £1,000 for a basic photograph with 6 small prints going up in stages of £200. A beauty experience, whether it be a haircut, a makeup or whatever, should be a pleasurable experience, not something that where you go inside a building and you feel like a prisoner that can't get out.
Sharon and Linda stood their ground and refused to pay New ID any more money. But Sarah Hughes from Port Talbot ended up spending a lot more than she'd planned. Sarah had received a voucher as a 30th birthday gift from her friends. She took her mum along and was looking forward to a day of being spoilt.
I was pleased with the makeover.
And they did your hair?
So then, yeah, I went on to have the hair done. She didn't seem that competent in doing my hair at all, really. I wanted it curled, but she was having some difficulty curling it.
Sarah enjoyed the photo shoot, but after that, just like Sharon and Linda, she was taken into a small room and asked to choose the photos she'd like to buy.
We were told that we couldn't have our 3 photos that we'd already paid for and the free complimentary ones, that we would have to do a package if we wanted more photos. So it was all kind of confusing. We were throwing all these figures at us, didn't quite understand what was going on quite, you know.
After hours of saying no, Sarah finally paid up. But after having paid £550 in all, her 14 photos didn't arrive for another 6 months.
I was just bitter about it all, you know, just feel gutted about the whole situation. What could have been such a lovely experience has just, you know, just been a lot of hassle, you know, and my friends are absolutely gutted, you know, that they bought this for a birthday present for me. And it was such a lovely experience that this has come out of it. They've had all this hassle to follow.
Jamie Roberts from Consumer Direct says that customers need to remember that if they do end up agreeing to buy, it counts as a legally binding agreement.
The key is to remember your rights, to remember that you're not under any obligation to say yes. You can say no without feeling rude. You know, sellers sell, it's their job to sell you a product, and they're going to try and get you to say yes. The key is to realise that you don't have to say yes. You don't have to offer an explanation as to why you're saying no.
We contacted New ID Studios and told them about Sarah, Linda and Sharon's concerns. In their response, they have apologised. They say their pricing policy is clearly stated on their website and in their studios, and the price will change